everybody. It's Tuesday, election day, and I got some more to say. Hey. Not about the election, though. I'm not going to go there. I wanted to share something with you guys. I found a cool little calculator online that might be of interest to my fellow van dwellers, people who, especially who are living in this region. It's a useful little calculator for the purpose of calculating the dew point based on relative humidity and temperature. I think this is a very important thing to know about when you're living in the van. It was very enlightening to me. In fact, I think it's sort of, you know, kind of raised some questions and pointed out a few things. So let me show you. Let me set up my camera toward my screen, and I'll try to show you this. Maybe you've heard of this site already, but I'll show it to you. Okay, we are now looking at my laptop screen, and I'm using the poor man's method of doing screen capture. We'll see how well this works. This is a calculator called dpcalc.org. It's a dew point calculator. It's kind of interesting. I was playing around with this, just playing with some numbers. Let me show you what I came up with. This is very interesting. What it shows you is a column for temperature, a column for relative humidity, and then it gives you the dew point based on those two things. And over here, it shows you what risk situation you are in based on the numbers here in various categories. One is natural aging. Actually, temperature affects aging of all of us and everything. Mechanical damage, mold risk, and metal corrosion. And I think you can record these things down here. I haven't tried that yet, but we'll see how it works. But it's a free calculator for anybody to use. So I'm still getting used to how to use it, but what I was playing around with is the numbers that I've been having around here in the Pacific Northwest in this region for the past couple of days. You know, we've had the lows at night about 48 degrees Fahrenheit, and the relative humidity has been up to around 75 or something like that. You can check the historical data on that if you want to verify. That puts the dew point at around 40, which is interesting what pops up over here. If you look at this is very interesting. And I'm going to have to do more research to verify this. But what it's telling me is that in the range of temperature and humidity that we're having right now, mold is not a risk. There's little to no risk. There's little to no risk of you know, increasing the aging process or a damage to the aging process. But there is risk to mechanical damage and metal corrosion at these settings. And what's interesting to me, you guys, is look what happens if I increase the temperature in my van. So if I kept my van at 48 degrees, which is what it was last night, it might have been a little warmer because of my body heat and my breathing and just that kind of thing. Might be so anyway. I want to show you what happens when you raise the temperature. Let's say I raise it up to, you know, a comfortable 65 degrees like you have in a house. Well, here's the problem you run into in your van. You'll notice that everything lights up as high risk. Suddenly you're in the mold risk, the metal corrosion, mechanical damage, and aging. And unless you're able to reduce the humidity as you raise the temperature, you're putting everything at risk. So if I could bring the humidity down, You know, if I could somehow suck water right out of the air, you know, with a dehumidifier or something like that, and bring it down to this range, then I'd be, you know, in a comfortable range. So this is pretty enlightening. The thing about it is here, you know, when you add insulation, these numbers do not care about insulation at all. These numbers are going to remain the same whether there's insulation or not. And blowing air through the van just with a fan is not going to reduce the relative humidity. It's just going to blow the humidity around. Unless there's a way of reducing that relative humidity, your dew point's going to be right up there. And that's going to cause these kinds of risks. So in my case, by keeping the temperature down, by not heating my van all the time, I at least am get out of the range of mold. I might be causing some rust, mechanical damage, and I'm kind of keeping healthier, apparently, by being in that range. Now, this answers a lot for me because I think this is why I've never seen mold in my van. And a lot of other van dwellers complain about it, but I've never had mold in my van that I know of. Maybe it was growing inside the walls and I just didn't know it. But the fact of the matter is, I never heat my van up to these kind of temperatures for a sustained period of time. Like right now, I have the back door open. I don't know what the temperature, let me see, the temperature in Seattle. Anyway, it's probably in the 50s, okay? It's probably, I bet you it's about 55 right now. And so between 55 and 48 low, that's about the range it was yesterday. Okay, so if I'm keeping the temperature in that range, at least I'm not in the mold risk. But if I'm raising the temperature inside my van quite a bit all the time, well, there you have it. Now, I don't know. You guys try this out. Think about it. Find the holes in it. Tell me if this is a useful tool or not. I think it sheds some light on some things. And you got you know, you can convert this to, I think this is this centigrade or Celsius? I don't know, but there you have the temperatures. Okay. 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 This. These numbers would explain, you know, what was happening to my friend. You know, the horror story I told you the other night about the van that had mold growing in it, the box truck. You know, he was heating up the inside of his van. I'm sure, I mean, it felt like it was probably approaching 70 degrees. He had like a hothouse in there. So he was raising, and it was highly, humidity around here is, you know, it's high. And especially in certain times of the year. And so he was pushing the dew point to the limit. And so he just was creating an environment where mold would grow. And that's what you're doing if you have those numbers. The insulation is not protecting you against the dew point or the humidity. All the insulation does is it prevents the heat, or it slows down the heat transfer through the walls of your van. So if you're keeping it heated for a sustained period of time, you're going to save money on propane or whatever fuel you're burning if you insulate it. But it's not going to change this stuff. There has to be some other method of pulling moisture out of the air in order to get this out of the risk range. So that's just something to think about, okay? You guys tell me, am I wrong? Am I crazy? Give me feedback. Okie dokie. Boy, I've sure harped on this subject a lot, haven't I? Well, hey, it's my home. You know, I'm very interested in this whole thing as winter approaches and the temperatures could go down another 10 degrees. And so, you know, it kind of gives me some ideas on what to think about. But I feel like what I'm doing, it kind of confirms laptops. At least this little calculator thing that I just showed you kind of confirms to me that it's not a bad thing. I'll let you ponder that one and keep the video short tonight. I hope it didn't go too long. Have a nice evening.